Hi, my name is Milton Hill. I'm an Academy trainer with the Outward Bound Training Academy. Today I'm here to talk about 5 essential groups of items for outdoor education. So these are my 5 C's: cover, cutting tools, combustion, container, and cordage. They are the 5 groups of things that are the most difficult to reproduce in a natural environment, and irrespective of whether or not someone is doing hiking or canoe tripping or anything else in the outdoors, you will need some version of these 5 things and categories of things to be able to enjoy your time outside. This is my anorak that I hand-stitched about 5 years ago. It still serves me well and is used for thermoregulation. Here is a tarp that is rolled up with its guy lines and everything already in it and is very quick to set up, along with tent pegs. And here's a sleeping bag for this season. This wool anorak I hand sewed out of wool, and wool actually has the advantage that it will retain 80% of its insulation value even when wet. Really, really good for shoulder season or for cool nights even in the summertime when you just want to keep the bugs and stuff like that off you. A tarp actually affords you either shade or shelter from the rain and or snow. And if set up correctly, you can give yourself an additional 5 to 10 degrees of thermal comfort rather than just being exposed to the elements and the wind and the rain. Tent pegs that I have here are helpful in the sense that it saves time. I don't actually have to cut branches off trees and then sharpen them to make tent pegs. If I bring a group of tent pegs with me, I can actually just set up things a lot quicker and then take them when I go. The sleeping bag kind of speaks for itself and is really instrumental, especially going into shoulder season when we have warm days and cool nights where it's sometimes below 10 degrees Celsius. And you want to be able to sleep warm and comfortable. Over here, we have cutting tools, starting with a folding saw, a knife, a hatchet, and a small Swiss Army knife, which actually has a saw and a knife on it at a basic minimum. Within the cutting tool department, this little Swiss Army knife I use for many of the lessons when I'm talking about tools. It has a saw on it, and it has 2 knives on it amongst other tools. And everyone's pretty familiar with the Swiss Army knife, but recognizing that the same classification of having a knife to process materials and a saw is then duplicated by these other tools, but just larger. One will actually do the trick. This right here is for heavier items. So the normal way that I would do it is I would cut dead standing wooden material and then process it or split it or buck it into smaller pieces. And then if I want to make it super fine, then I can use this with a stick and batten it down and make finer pieces of wood, especially if it's wet. This here is a ferrocerium rod. It's a rod that's made out of aluminum and magnesium mixed together. When sparked, it actually produces a very hot spark of a couple thousand degrees, which is very helpful for starting a fire in wet conditions. Here is a container, 2 containers, a cup, and a steel Nalgene bottle. The advantage of using stainless steel is that it blocks light from actually going onto your stored water, and that stops algae from growing in your bottle. A stainless steel water bottle can also be used and hung so that it can be used as a pot to purify water, which is an advantage. And then I have a cup that goes over it, and that's a set all by itself. Over here, I have cordage. Cordage either for a ridgeline or something larger, or small pieces like these that are just handy just when you need a piece of string or line to actually hold something in place, hang something up, and get it out of the way. This one right here I have hanged, which allows me to actually pull it out without it tangling for immediate use. Yeah. And these are the 5 general items that I like to have with me on trips or through teaching, because they're the 5 critical systems that are the most difficult to duplicate in nature. It's very difficult to duplicate a tarp or clothing. It's difficult to duplicate metal tools, and the advantage that metal tools actually give us in processing materials, whether it's wood, bone, leather, what have you. A ferrocerium rod is a lot quicker and a lot more efficient and economical energy-wise, rather than having to use a friction fire method and using a lot of calories to start a fire. The stainless steel water bottles, or a container to actually hold water, and the ability of being able to purify it, is also another great advantage as well. And cordage, you can make natural cordage out of vines or bark from trees and natural materials, but that will take a very, very long period of time, very long. So having cordage, having a container, a ferrocerium rod or some kind of fire lighting device, weighs your metal tools to process wood, and your cover will actually save a lot of time and also allow you to make the most out of a situation, whether it's a day hike or a longer trip or any other kind of outdoor educational endeavors that you might want to do. If I only had one, then I pick the knife. With this knife, I can make shelter. With a knife, I can make fire. With a knife, I can make a container. With a knife, I can make cordage. So this is the #1 tool that I would actually take with me if I had to just have one.